President Biden is in Arizona today.
Yeah, he's set to speak about the economy at an Intel campus just outside of Phoenix. The president is also ramping up campaign efforts in Arizona, which is positioned as a key battleground state in the upcoming election. In 2020, Biden narrowly beat Trump by less than 1 percentage point. So Biden's also paying special attention to Hispanic and Latino voters, as that demographic makes up about 1/3 of Arizona's population.
CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang is in Phoenix ahead of President Biden's speech. Weijia, it's great to see you. In 2020, as you know, Arizona voted blue for the first time since 1996. Since the last election, how have Democrats grown their support in the state, and how does Biden hope to capitalize on that?
Well, Democrats are really enthusiastic and hopeful about the fact that in 2022, this state elected a Democratic governor, Katie Hobbs, to office. And so they are hoping to use that momentum. And it's important to note that she really leaned into the issue of women's reproductive rights, which we saw was a winning issue for Democrats, not only here, but across the country. And they're also optimistic about the fact that there are many more young people moving into this county, Maricopa County, which is so critical when you look at the size and the voting bloc for the Latino population. And so those are just two factors. But as you mentioned, it is so tight, guys. I mean, Biden only won by a little more than 10,000 votes in 2020. So there is not a lot of wiggle room for error for either party.
Well, and as you well know, no demographic group is a monolith, and that's true of Latino voters. So that said, what is the Biden campaign strategy for trying to win over that 1/3 group of Arizona voters there?
Well, they are really pouring resources in terms of staffing, in terms of ad campaigns, in terms of people on the ground to talk with this community face to face. And everywhere they look, whether it's on television or social media, they're really trying to saturate the field to remind these voters, they say, of what could happen if Biden were out of office. They are warning that Donald Trump would try to dismantle the social programs that many rely on. They are trying to paint the same picture that they are nationwide, which is what will happen if we are not here. But it really is about outreach and enthusiasm, which is why, the campaign says it's not so much about changing minds, it's about drumming up that excitement to get people out to vote.
Well, despite that excitement and what they're trying to do, CBS News polling shows Biden has lost support from Hispanic voters since 2020. What's happening?
Yeah. Well, it is difficult to pinpoint one reason, but we did speak to an all-Latino voter panel. And one issue that is very important here, obviously, because it is part of the border, is immigration. And they feel that the President Biden has not done enough, that he is all talk, as one person put it, and no action. When I raised the fact that, he tried to help facilitate a bipartisan border security bill that didn't make it to the Senate floor because Democrats say Republicans and Donald Trump shut it down, they said, well, even in that bill, there was not enough to help control the flow of migrants. And they say, they do want migrants to come here, because many of their families were also immigrants. But there has to be a better way to fix the system. On the other hand, they say Trump is all about, rhetoric and says that he wants to deport everyone, which is not going to work either. But in terms of why Biden is losing support, again, there are so many issues here, whether it's the economy, whether it's immigration, that it's hard to pinpoint just one reason.
All right. Weijia Jiang in Arizona for us. Thank you.